Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the moment. Welcome to the holy instant. Welcome to now, the only time that exists. So I heard something this morning at the breakfast table, and it sparked in me the subject that we're going to cover today. So my question is, how many of you lately have been having what we might call senior moments? A few of you? A senior moment. Senior moment might be where you can't hold your thoughts together in with quite the same veracity as you once did. You know, when you were young, and you would pride yourself in, like, my mind is like a steel trap and I can hold my thoughts together, and there's always a sequential association and it makes sense. You start to get to the point where your thoughts begin to drift apart more and more. There's more space in between your thoughts. Anybody ever have that experience? Raise your hand in the Zoom room, and here a lot of people are raising their hand. Okay, well, we're going to reframe that. What if these aren't actually senior moments, but symptoms of enlightenment? Yeah. See, they like that much better. What if these are the sign that something is right, not that something is wrong? Yes, well, I think that's true, because I think what's happening really is that space that we feel between our thoughts, which seems to be growing, which seems to be increasing, is really us letting go of the perceptual association and the need for time itself, the need to hold it together in a framework of separation. Because that's all it is. That's all we've been doing. And as we ascend higher and higher on this ladder, as we climb these stairs, we begin to realize that what I really need is not to hold my thoughts together, but to set them free. So we're going to look at that today. I thought that might be a fun thing for you, since so many of us can relate. And there's something that I wrote that I think will guide us into our discussion. So let me pull that up. Okay. And, you know, lately you may have noticed as we're starting these off with that line, see if you can hear this without compromising it in any way. See if you can do that. No compromise. That's usually our problem. We want to say, well, that's true in this circumstance, but not in another. No, it's true in every circumstance. We don't want to compromise this, because when we don't compromise the truth, we realize that the truth has never compromised us. But only then will we get that. So see if you can hear this without compromising it in any way. The joy you're feeling is the result of you losing your need to hold your thoughts together in a sequential time association. Once again, the joy that you're feeling, all this light that you're feeling just flowing through you, the ecstatic joy that you're feeling is the result of you losing your need. You no longer need to hold your thoughts together in a sequential time association. That's what's creating the joy. And I know we're all feeling this. We wouldn't be coming back here day after day, sitting here listening to an idiot like me, if that weren't true, right? If you weren't feeling something sparking inside you that's creating a sense of joy, a sense of freedom, you wouldn't be here otherwise. Okay, a second ago, that would have felt like death. And it would have been, but not the death of anything that's real. It would have been the death of the unreality you've claimed until now. The death of the unreality that you've claimed until now. The unreal you. And until now, letting that go has been very frightening. Why? It's been very frightening because you thought that's who you are. You didn't realize that the unreal you is not real. You thought that that illusion, that identity is, you claimed it as yourself. And as you felt it slipping away, it created fear. All of you now are indeed feeling it slipping away. But instead of fear, you're experiencing joy because you know what's on the other side of it. The problem is we don't know what's on the other side of it when we're locked in the illusion. We feel our thoughts beginning to spread apart. We feel more space between our thoughts, and we say, oh, I'm having a senior moment. What if instead of that you said, I'm having symptoms of enlightenment? Go around and say that and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to back up. A second ago, you would have thought that this fear that we're talking about, that it felt like death, but it actually is not the death of anything that's real. It would have been the death of the unreality you've claimed until now, the unreal you. And until now, that's been very frightening to look at the unreal you. You were afraid of losing yourself. But the fear you were experiencing was literally the only thing that was blocking you from realizing that the you that you're afraid of losing was never real. The fear that you've been experiencing is really just the idea that you're losing something that was never real. It was nothing more than the accumulation of attack thoughts, separating attack thoughts. Do you realize that's what you are? That's not very pretty. The unreal you, who you've claimed the identity until now, is nothing more than really an accumulation of attack thoughts. And when you're honest with yourself and really look at that, you'll see that it's true. Watch your mind. Watch the attack thoughts just flow through you and how you give importance to them, how you want to be right. I'm going to go out of this for a moment because I want to talk about the whole being right thing. That is one of the greatest defenses against the truth that the ego will ever have, the need to be right. But the need to be right is only part of the separate self, the split identity. The soul has no need to be right. The soul's only need is to be in light, to be free, to love. Have you noticed lately, in this time that we're in, that many people claim that they're the ones who are right? Everyone else is wrong. I've done the research. I've listened to the pundits. I know what's going on. And if you don't listen to me, well, you're not right. You're stupid. And they'll look at you with those eyes like, how can you even think that? I'm right about this. And I assert my rightness. Here's the thing. Whenever you find yourself asserting your rightness, take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize you're wrong. You are wrong. Whenever you assert being right, I am right, what does that mean about the other person? That they're wrong. Now I'm lost. The only path back is, guess what? Humility. Humility. Why do we talk about humility so much? Because it's the key. The soul is humble. The soul is gentle. The soul has no need to assert its rightness. That's why pretty much everywhere I go these days, people seem to be practicing, not just resonating with, but practicing this silly little thing that came into my mind, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago. I don't know, maybe I love you. Yesterday, I was getting a massage with our dear friend Willow, and she said it. Willow doesn't even live here. She did, but she doesn't live here anymore. So she didn't hear it at the session. She heard it from one of you. And she said, wow, that's freedom. I don't need to be right. I don't need to assert my rightness. I can relax and just love. That's what the soul does. And as you do that, as you allow that energy to flow through you, your thoughts start to spread out. The space between your thoughts starts to increase. And the egoic part of your mind is going to say, oh, that's not good. You're having a senior moment. I'm telling you, that's good. You're having an enlightenment moment. Trust that. Don't get worried. Go into it. Okay? I just had to speak for a moment about that whole thing of being right, because it's rampant today. All right, where did my thing go? Here it is. Okay. You can only see how insane that is when you look at it directly. That all of these things, the you that you've claimed is nothing more than an accumulation of separated attack thoughts. Once again, you can only see that, and you can only see how insane those attack thoughts are when you look at it directly. The egoic part of your mind doesn't want you to look at any of this directly. In fact, it doesn't want you to look at anything directly, nothing. It wants you to give always a glancing look. But don't look at it really, because the moment you really look at something, another person, a situation in your life, when you really look at it, when you really see it, you see how insane that idea is. But if you just give it a glancing look and then go back into my own judgment, my need to be separate, my need to be right, then you can continue that illusion. But the joy that we're feeling here is the lack of the need to continue the illusion. And that's very joyful. I know you're all feeling that. And there may be times when suddenly it constricts again and you find yourself, well, when you notice that, just let it go. Just go back into that mind that can allow, can bless, can see. Okay, why would you want to be an accumulation of separated attack thoughts? You can only want this if you're not conscious of what you really want. You can only want to be an accumulation of attack thoughts if you are not conscious of what you really want. You can only want the unreal if you don't realize it's unreal. That makes sense, doesn't it? You can only want the unreal if you realize that it's not real. As soon as you realize that it's not real, you won't want it. The instant you realize that you've been seeking after non-existent reality, you'll give it up, but only when you have a direct experience of what reality actually is. And this space that we're talking about, when you feel your thoughts spreading out, that's the approach of the experience. When you feel that, just relax into it and desire only one thing: to know the truth of who you are and have always been. And then the experience will follow, I promise you. There'll be a bolt of light that will suddenly shake you from the foundation of your rightness. Suddenly you'll realize how silly that was, me asserting my rightness about anything. And I look at everyone and I say, I don't know, maybe. I love you. That's all I know for sure. And boy, does that feel good, doesn't it? You know, being right, asserting your rightness, when you're really honest with yourself, does that feel good? It may, you know, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like candy. I want to take this off for a moment. It's like candy. Feels good for a moment. You get the sweetness of it. You get the sugar rush of it. But then what happens? You crash. You have a sugar crash. That's what happens when you think you're right. For a moment there, you can justify your rightness and say, gosh darn it, I did the research. I'm right about this. And it doesn't, here's the other interesting thing. It doesn't matter when someone shows you the evidence that you're not right about a situation. No, it does not matter. There's so many things online you can go on and you can look where comedians or other people will say, but have you thought about this? And it'll be the direct evidence that what they've been thinking all along is not right at all. Absolutely not. You will not look at that, because asserting your rightness makes you real. Asserting your rightness makes you in your mind real, or it makes the unreal real in your mind. And that's why the solution is only there in your mind. It's not out there anywhere. Assert your rightness and you're lost. Relax into the space of love, and you're right back to it. Okay, let's read that last little bit. Okay. Why would you want to be an accumulation of separate and attack thoughts? You can only want this if you're not conscious of what you really want. You can only want the unreal if you don't realize it's unreal. The instant that you realize that you've been seeking after non-existent reality, you'll give it up. But only when you have a direct experience of what reality actually is. In other words, you can't want what is until you released your tight grip on what isn't. That's the only thing a master teacher or a whole mind is here to get you to do, to let go of what isn't. Let it go. You don't need it. You never did need it. It's been showing you a world that doesn't exist, and it's all in your mind. It's not out here. When we say that the world is not real, I'm not talking about that tree. I'm talking about what you how you interpret everything in your mind, how you see everything in your mind. Your attack thoughts are showing you an unreal world. And it's up to you when you want to let them go. My only question is, why not now? Now that you see clearly what they are, what they have cost you, literally everything, literally heaven itself. The experience of your awakening, why would you continue at that point? So I'm going to stop my silliness now and turn to Vicky, because she's the real deal. She's the one who leads us into the practicality of this. So Vicky, let's hear it.
Good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everybody. So nice to see you. So first of all, it's the truth. Things aren't right or wrong. They're either true or false. It really is that simple. But it's nice to start coming into the experience of not being able to hold it together and track it. And I realized for myself that the reason that's helpful is it shows us where we've been getting our cues from outside of us. When we get upset because we don't remember this or that, it's because we look to the past to get our cues as to what to think or do right now. And when you stop looking outside yourself for cues, the only place left to look is within. And when hopefully we get it, that we're safe enough, look within, because no one knows what to do in a maze that isn't so. None of us do. But within is the direction. That's why it's only listen and follow. It's not somebody's right or wrong, good or bad. It could be one way today, one way tomorrow. It's the whole experience is listen within. And then what happens is you only listen within. You don't worry about what other people say, because any side of anything is equally false sides of what isn't. So, but the other thing that I really feel, and I witnessed this with brothers that seem to be going through extreme memory loss. Some people might call it Alzheimer's. But I think what's happening is because our collective communion mind is rising into the natural light that we are, that letting go of the past may look like what we call Alzheimer's, but it's letting go of the past. And the other thing I've noticed, knowing a few people that may have this condition or experience, when we respond with great joy that our brother isn't clinging to the past, it brings everyone, my brother and myself, into an immediate presence of love. And love brings the guidance of what to do next, what to say next, how to shine, how to love. And I've told you this before. I had a very dear friend she was in a nursing home. She was in her 90s, and she had Alzheimer's, and her children called to tell me. And they said, don't feel bad if she doesn't remember who you are. I said, oh no, I don't feel bad. So I brought her a book, one of Teddy's books, We Are One. I brought her the book, and I said, Lydia, I'm your friend Vicky. You love me, and I love you. Oh, she said, I don't know about that. but I do know that I love you now. Did that say it all? And I said, that's right. And Lydia, I love you now. And we had the nicest visit and always did, because none of it is so. But love knows itself wherever it sees itself in all of creation. And the only need for love is to shine and welcome and accept and rejoice. So let it all go. Let the past go. I see for myself, the only problem I find is I get embarrassed for a moment. Oh God, I can't remember. What did I say? What was I going to do? So what? When we get so what about it, and then we get very present. Oh, this is the other thing. When we get present and we don't get worried about digging up what it is we can't remember, there's present enjoyment. That's how love shows up in the present. We get to enjoy everything because there's nothing clogging up the mind with thoughts that have to be looked at and processed and categorized and everything. The healing is letting go of the past. So thank you.
Hey, Vicki, would you tell us?
That's all I got.
Vicki, would you tell us when your parents were going through this, how you handled it? I love that story.
Oh, I don't know which part, but
How you played into you.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, both. So with Rosie, I'd say, good morning, Mama. Mama, I'm Vicki. I'm your oldest daughter. And I love you. And thank you for loving me. And we would just, oh, isn't that good? And she would say things like, now that man, they were in bed for 5 years together, side by side, and they had the best time. She'd say, now that man over there, is that your father? And I'd say, yes, Mama. She said, is he my husband? Oh, yes, Mama. And you love him. Oh, I do. But when my father had a moment, now Rosie really had let go of a lot of things. But Louie, in his 90s, was sharp as a tack, except that he had one morning this major revelatory experience. That's all I can say, because I recognized it. And I walked in the room and he said, you have to forgive me, this is Louie's sacred profanity. Jesus Christ, son of a bitch, you're not going to believe what happened to your father last night. Daddy, what happened? They made me head of the United States government. I said, Daddy, did he really? Yes, I'm head of the government. I said, Daddy, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I want you to know, from that day on, he lived 2 more years. And he never went back on it. I knew in that moment because he was lit up, aglow. And I knew he found the dominion, the authority of the Christ within him. I was like over the top excited, like, okay, Daddy, we'll do anything you say. But one of the things he said, kid, you got to wear white. Now, I'm sorry, I'm not in white. Oh, he's here. And he's saying, you got to wear white, kid, and you got to sparkle. And he took out the money in his wallet and he said, you go to Filene's and you go buy everything that sparkles. You can't wear anything that doesn't sparkle, kid. You got to wear sparkles all the time. And so we did. So for 2 years, my sister Debbie made us sparkly capes. She had to go to the store and get these capes. And I could only wear white shorts in the middle of the night going to the bathroom. I had to wear the sparkles. Couldn't go in the room without sparkle. So I'd throw on the white cape over whatever pajamas or anything I was wearing. All of us did, though. No one entered the room without being in sparkles. And then the men, he wanted in military uniform. So Harvey, this was the best. So Harvey went to Salvation Army and he bought all military jackets. And all the men, Teddy, Harvey, Jesse, all the men in the family had to put on the military jackets when they went in the room. And everybody did. So his closet was lined with sparkly capes outside the room and these military jackets. And we went with it. We went, why not go with it? It's like, because it doesn't matter. Then it makes space to join and to love. And he wanted everybody to have everything. But the other thing I would say before I tell you that is he never lost for a minute any other long or short-term memory. He was sharp as a tack till the day, literally, he and Rosie both laid down their body in peace and in grace. But he didn't have, because he never did have memory loss. He had a revelation, and his experience in perception came back into, well, I'm responsible for everything. And isn't that what the Course says? We're 100% responsible for everything. Louie was 100% responsible. That's what Rosie once said. I was taking her to the bathroom. So tell me, Mama, she'd say, that man out there, is he head of the United States government? And I said, well, Mama, I don't know about the whole government, but he's head of our government. Oh, she said, that's very good, isn't it? I said, yeah, it's really good. Thank you, Tiffany. Rosie, Louie, thank you, thank you.
I love that story. Thank you for telling it, Vicki. It's such a good example of what we're describing here. Just go with it. If you're finding your thoughts starting to spread out, go with it. Make it a game, make it fun. And it will be, but give it importance. Try and reel it back in, and all it's going to do is cause you pain. Teddy, what do you want to share around that?
Well, I gotta tell you, this is an interesting topic for me because I really do have a serious experience with this whole thing. When I was in California, I woke up one morning and the tech crew were my guides. I walked into the living room and all of a sudden they took me out of my body. They took me out of my body and I had all kinds of plans. They took me out of my body and they showed me, because I've been told I'm not going to have to reincarnate again. They showed me in a sphere all of this stuff that I still needed to forgive in order to not have to repeat this again. And I looked at them and I was like, how am I ever going to get this done? And they just laughed at me and said, don't worry about it. When I came back into my body, what I realized was they had removed from my memory all manner of things that had gone on. Like there were things that were just not there anymore. I didn't remember people. I came back here. I don't remember people's names. I don't remember things that happened. They were just gone. And they weren't gone in a bad way like I had forgotten. They were literally removed from my memory because having been forgiven, they were no longer a part of it. And what I had left was this circle of things that now needed to be forgiven or dealt with in order for me to not have to repeat this again. And I was just really amazed. I had all kinds of plans. The next thing I know, I'm back here. I'm back here, and things are going on, and stuff is happening, and I can feel that I'm dealing with what they showed me I needed to deal with. So it's just interesting because that stuff really was removed from my memory. It's not like I forgot it or Alzheimer's or from the ALS. It was really just removed because having been forgiven, it no longer was. And that's been my experience of what you're talking about. Being removed from the entirety of the world for a second, having the world cleansed of what I need not do, and coming back into a world where what I needed to do was being presented to me in a way in which it could be accomplished so that I need not have to repeat space and time again. That's all I can say. It was and is an amazing experience.
Beautiful. To have it all removed, once again, to let it spread out, to let the space increase between the thoughts to the point that you can never pull them back again. You're never going to get them back. and to be joyful, to be excited about that. I love that story that Vicky told because she turned it into a game. You just go with it. Maybe that's the key for this lesson. Just go with it. When you feel that what you thought to be senior moments slipping in, go with them. Realize that they're filled with grace, not something to be afraid of. Enjoy it. There's such freedom when you just allow the space between the thoughts to take over. So thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Teddy. Well, one final, yeah, George.
Just one quick thing. This is something I've had sitting on my desk for a few days, and it fits in with it. It's from a book called A Journey to Oneness. And it says, the self-realization that each of you is capable of attaining is determined solely by your ability to focus on the magnificence of your own experience and to cease looking over your shoulder at what another human being is practicing or preaching.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. That is perfect. And I'm going to read something from this book, The Art of Spiritual Peacemaking, by that weird guy right there. Because I actually have 3 copies beneath my computer, kind of lifting them up. And once again, you feel now and then the impulse to do something. Follow that. I just said, I felt the guidance, just grab that book, open it up, and read what you come to. So this is what I came to. And this is to wrap up the lesson for today. Let the eternal yes sing through you this day. Let the eternal yes sing through you this day. The world needs to feel that this is a reality it can enjoy, that this is real. And it will only feel this if you allow yourself to enjoy it. You are to be the example that this is possible, that all of this is possible in the ordinary ways that you live your life. Until now, it has seemed to be the exception, not the rule, but it is yours to show a new possibility, a new possibility. Will you accept this and move into the light? It is why you were born into this world, to show that the world is not your real home. Love is your home, and the yes that sings through you brings you a step closer to this reality now. So let the eternal yes sing through you today. And then go with it. Whatever it is. These aren't senior moments. These are symptoms of enlightenment. What a great reframe, right? So thank you, everyone. What a great week it's been. Lovely to share with all of you. And we'll be back on Sunday. I think, Diane, are you going to be leading the service on Sunday? And I'm sure Johannes will be here as well. And Bethel will be with us. So we'll have our unity service on Sunday. In the meantime, let's go ahead and we will do our prayer of protection as we wind things up. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God.
I am God.
We are. God is.
We are.
And all is well.
And all is well.
All is well indeed. Thank you,
That
everyone.
was cool.
Thank you.
Namaste. We love you.
And big